What is up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of the Rantcast. So I decided to try to do something a little bit different, but with just me here it would get a little bit boring really fast. So we've got a special guest here, Brandon Mendel.
Hey guys, how's it going? You may or may not have heard of me before, but I record sirens. My channel says sirens, storms, and more, but right now it's just been sirens, and that's because I had no time to record any of my storm stuff. But yeah, that's just what my channel's all about, and yeah, so you want to get us going, Sam?
Yeah, alright, so guys, go subscribe to his channel. There's a link in the description, and there's a card if you want to check it out. He's got some quality content of some storm sirens. He does great videos, so check him out after you watch this video, of course. So guys, the topic today is gonna be Apple. Now, they dropped some new stuff at WWDC 2017, and it's actually pretty interesting. There was some stuff that I wasn't expecting, and the first thing I guess we're going to talk about is iOS 11. Now, iOS 11, it's iOS, but they actually added a little bit of customizability. Like, Brandon, I don't know if you know this, but you can record the screen of your iPhone just from the control center now.
Oh no, that is actually really cool, because right now, if you may not already know, I still use an iPhone 6, okay? And I've been on iOS 8 for a long period of time, and one of the main reasons is because I like to have a jailbroken phone, and one of the most coolest tweaks that I do have is I can record my freaking screen, and it's awesome. And, you know, just hearing news of this capability is just great, and it's nice to know that it's in the control center, and, you know, it just makes things way easier than, you know, what I have to do right now. And, yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome, I think.
So yeah, you got that, and while we're on the topic of your iPhone 6, guys, we're already getting off topic, so that's kind of going to be the theme
great.
here, ADHD-inspired podcast type thing. But as you guys know, I have this phone. This is a Galaxy S7 Edge. I'll even take the case off of it so you can see. There it is. I've had this phone since September. If you look at the top there above the camera, the color's coming off the glass. There's a dead pixel right there.
Oh, man.
And this phone is only 9 months old. Now, Brandon over here with his iPhone 6, and did you get it in 2014 or a different year?
2015, I think. I think that's when it was. I think it was in 2015, around the summer I got it. And I actually had two phones. It was really weird for a little while, but I had this and the Samsung Galaxy, and both phones are doing just fine, but this one has been like really remarkable. It survived lots of just pure punishment, drops, everything. I mean, yeah, I do have a case on it, but I mean, I almost overheated it the other day. Okay, I left my phone out in the dash. I was working outside, and I come back, and this phone's like freaking scalding hot. Like, I couldn't believe it, how hot this thing was. And I was worried my phone was like toast, because it was out there for a good solid like half hour or so, even longer than that. And it was a really hot day. And I just stuck it in the cooler with all my drinks and stuff like that. And I came back to it just fine. Totally okay. My old iPhone 5, though, that was a little bit of a different story. When I first got that, about a few months afterwards, my battery was awful. And I couldn't seem to figure it out. And I know some other people who had iPhone 5s, and they had a similar issue. And so I did a little bit more research, and I found out there was actually a recall on that battery, and I had to get the battery replaced at least twice. The first time, they didn't really do it very well. Like, I could like shake my phone, and you could still hear that battery shaking around a little bit. And then the second time, I actually like my power button and the volume buttons were like messed up. They're connected somehow. And I went over there, and they serviced it. They did a really good job with it, and they replaced the buttons. And even though my battery was still okay, they replaced the battery, and they replaced the camera as well, which didn't have any issue. But still, it was really, really awesome. But that phone still works just fine, too, since that second replacement.
So the pattern, basically, what we're trying to tell you guys is, even though, like, I'm not careful with my phones at all. Like, I'm surprised that the screen on this is still in one piece and not completely cracked. But regardless of that, the iPhone 4S that I had, it's, what is it now, like 6 years old? Still working completely fine except for the lock button. This iPhone 3G right here, it still works. There's some messed up pixels on the screen, but this is 2008, and this is from March 2016. So you can kind of see the pattern here with reliability. Now,
Oh yeah.
definitely
Like
don't
what? Yeah.
don't get me wrong. There are some things that I'm going to miss on with this. Like I do like the Edge display, but I mean, guys, this is my second Samsung phone. The first one was the S5. I'm sure you all remember that. Lasted 7 months before I completely broke it. But regardless of that, after a while, you know, your Android phones just start to lose what they were when you first got them. It's like a PC, because you know how PCs are. After a while, they get slow. But
Oh yeah.
like with
I can attest to that. Yeah.
yeah, with an iPhone, it's different than that. And actually, both of us can kind of give you both viewpoints, because I use a Mac, but I have Android as my main phone, and he uses a PC, and his phone is an iPhone. So we kind of have both ends of the spectrum here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like like the big Apple fanboy, but I'm also like I don't hate them completely either. You know, I have an unbiased opinion towards them, and I think they build for the most part some pretty good phones. Yeah, there's some nice things about the Androids too, but I think the iPhones are pretty solid. A lot of people use them. I have a few friends who went to Android, went back to iOS. It's all really a matter of preference, really. But I think in terms of durability, at least in my experience, and his as well, that I think the iPhone has lasted longer.
Yeah, the iPhones definitely do last longer, and like, I mean, I guess another thing that you can argue with is the topic of expandable storage, which it is a nice feature, I'm not gonna lie, because with this phone I have 32 gigabytes internal and then a 256 gigabyte SD card up in that SD card tray right at the top there. But I mean, it's an SD card. You can get a thing for the iPhone that you plug into the Lightning port and then plug a flash drive into that. And obviously it doesn't give you the same amount of freedom with putting apps on the external storage as Android does, but it still helps a lot with your pictures. And honestly here, that's what takes up the most amount of storage for most people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is very true. I really do wish I had expandable storage though, because I mean I have like the 16 gigabyte one, and I'm always like dead on memory. I have no memory at all. I mean that would have been really nice to have the expandable storage on an Apple device. But I don't think that's ever going to happen, just because of how Apple usually is with that. But
No, it won't. Just
it is
like,
how it is.
Just like they removed the in between with the between 32 and 128 gigabytes. There's no 64 gigabyte option anymore. So with the iPhone 7, you can either get the baseline, which is 32, 128, or 256. And honestly, I feel like for most people, 128 would be enough. But if you run out of storage, there's no way to expand it.
Yeah. Well, I think 128 would probably do really good. I mean, for what I do with video and stuff, 128 is good enough for me. I think probably for most people as well.
Yeah, and as well as that, guys, do you remember the original iPhone when it first came out in 2007? There was a 4 gigabyte version and an 8 gigabyte version. And
God.
Because for those who don't remember, when the first iPhone came out, it wasn't even called iOS, it was called iPhone OS. There wasn't an app store. The camera was, I think, 2 megapixels without any capability of recording video. And you couldn't rearrange apps on the home screen because there wasn't an app store.
Yeah. I mean, that's when the jailbreak scene was pretty popular, too, around that period of time. Put their own apps and things. I mean, I think that's really when we started to see the potential of the iPhone, was definitely the first iPhone for sure. And I mean, that really reinvented the smartphone for sure.
And even now, like, when you look at the original iPhone next to an iPhone 7, especially the silver one, the design hasn't changed all that much. I mean, the iPhone 7, I'd say, is closer to the design of the first iPhone than something like a 5S or a 5, because you remember after the 6 came out, they went back to that, like, beveled kind of edge on it.
Yeah.
And they've stuck with that through the 7 and 7 Plus.
Yeah, that is true. It's really strange, though, how, like, our needs of, like, storage have, like, have changed so much. I mean, 4 to 8 gigs just doesn't seem like that would do me much anymore. I have, like, an old PC from like late 90s, and the hard drive is 8 GB. That's just crazy.
And yeah, guys, on top of that, when do you remember when the original iPad came out? It was a brick. It was huge, and I believe that the storage options were 8. No, maybe it was 16, 32, and 64. And now you look at this baseline storage on the iPad Pro is 64 gigabytes now. So
Wow.
you got 64, 256, and 512. Which, guys, 512 gigabytes in a tablet.
That's pretty insane. I
That's-
don't think I even need 512.
That's 4 times the amount of storage that my MacBook Air has, because I just have the baseline 128 gig. But yeah, you see they did it here too. There's no 128 gig option.
I really wish there was, though. I mean, that would be the best thing. But I guess just as how the business model is, I guess people will choose to go to the higher one, rather than go to the lower 64. I guess it's like a little bit like psychology.
It is nice that it's only $100 difference between the 64 and 256, but then as soon as you go to the 512, it's $200 more than the...
Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But
Oh well.
honestly, with this new 10.5-inch iPad Pro and the new features that iOS 11 adds to it, you can kind of start to see the potential that it has to actually kind of replace a laptop. Because, here, take a look at this, guys. So, right here we've got the Apple website page for iOS 11, and if you look at the iPad in the middle, you can see the dock is different than it used to be, because it used to span across the entire bottom of the screen and like touch the bottom of the bezel, or the top of the bezel rather, and the app switcher looks a little bit different now. It actually kind of reminds me of the start screen from Windows 8.
Yeah,
And
it actually does, yeah.
but if you guys want to know more about this, people like MKBHD, Austin Evans, they've done videos on the multitasking, which you can see here, which I'm very happy is finally a thing. Apple finally is realizing, hey, maybe Android's had this for years, we should add this to ours. I just hope it's available on the iPhone sometime soon.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
Wouldn't it? Because, like, I don't use it very often, but when it's there, it's so nice.
Oh yeah, we do have like this really cheap tablet, an Android tablet that I've been using multitasking on, and it's a little glitchy for that. And that's just because that tablet's really cheap and it's not really powerful. But to see that on a more powerful machine would be really helpful, I think. I mean, I literally, like, whenever I type up reports and essays and stuff, sometimes I just use a cheap tablet to do that, and multitask, put the Word on one side and then a Google Chrome or whatever on my other side. I mean, it's so helpful, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other applications for that as well.
Yeah, and honestly, at school with, I think it came in macOS El Capitan, which I still really don't like that operating system because of the experience I had with it, but I think it was either that or Sierra, but I think it was El Capitan where they introduced it. There's split screen mode, so when you go into mission control on the Mac, you can drag an app on top of another one, and if it's compatible, it'll go into a split screen mode. And even though I only have the 11-inch MacBook Air, it was very helpful in classes when I was doing research and then typing a paper, because I could just have the website on, say, the right side of the screen, and then the paper that I'm writing on the left.
Oh yeah, I mean, I already do that on my computer if I'm ever typing on paper. That's my de facto thing to do.
It is a helpful feature. I'm glad that they added it to the iPad, although I think split screen was already a feature in iOS 10. But let me show you guys. If you look right here, you can drag an app up from the dock and then have it sit on top of the other app, or put it in split screen mode. And you can actually run 2 apps in split screen and then have a third in windowed mode on top of them. So
Oh wow.
you can actually start to see the potential of this actually being able to replace like a laptop. It's not quite to the level that the Surface Pro is at, but it is actually powerful enough to run macOS, and I'm sure someone's going to find a way to do that. But hopefully within the next few years we'll see an iPad running at least like a lower down RT-ish type of macOS on it.
Yeah, I think that would really be helpful for selling the iPad. I mean, if you want to, make a device that's supposed to replace the computer, you got to make something that's comparable to one. And it's getting there. It's small steps, but it's going there for sure.
No, I'm gonna have to stop you right there, Brendan.
Hmm.
It is a giant step.
Oh, I'm sorry. A giant
Yes.
step.
Giant step for the iPhone. Oh no, sorry. A monumental
A
leap
monumental leap.
for the iPad. It's only a giant step for the iPhone.
Oh, just a giant.
Yeah, but
I mean, a
monumental.
huge jump. We're going like over like a big, deep like ravine. Like we're jumping over that. I mean, we went from
Yes.
iPad to like
iPad
almost like
Air,
I mean, it's
iPad
insane.
Pro.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, we got it, guys.
Yes, a monumental leap. It's gonna be awesome.
Alright guys, so another thing that I don't think anyone was really expecting to be announced this early at WWDC was the iMac Pro. Now, guys, the iMac that I have, it's great, okay, I love it, but this takes the iMac to a level that I didn't think that we'd ever see. You can actually take it to 18 cores, and in an iMac, that's crazy. Like,
That's almost unheard of.
they sell 3 models. It isn't available until December. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but there you go. You can get 8, 10, or 18 cores, and turbo boost up to 4.5 gigahertz with 18 logical or physical cores. I don't know if it's hyper-threading, but I'd assume it is.
Hmm.
And that's crazy. 18 physical, real cores in an iMac. And that's not even talking about the graphics yet. They're actually using AMD Pro Vega graphics. You can go either 8 or 16 gigabytes of video memory. And 16 gigabytes of RAM is what my previous computer had for just memory. It didn't even have a dedicated graphics card.
Ooh, that's crazy. I mean, I'm looking at the same website too. I pulled it up on my computer as well. I'm looking through these specs, and oh my gosh.
400 gigabytes a second of memory bandwidth. Guys, that's fast. Imagine storage that fast. 400 gigabytes a second? There's obviously not a connector that can handle that type of throughput for storage right now, and I'm sure if there was one it would be really expensive. But that's a lot of bandwidth. If you guys have actually seen the full 3 hours of WWDC, I did end up watching the whole thing, but they demonstrated VR on, I don't think it was the iMac Pro, but they showed it on just the regular iMac, and the way it ran it was smooth, it was fast, it was incredible. Now look at this. You can take the iMac up to 128 gigabytes of RAM. And that's how much storage my MacBook
Oh my
Air
God.
has. And
Oh my god.
right?
I know, that's crazy. I just did a recent RAM upgrade on my little machine here. Went from 8 to 16, and when I hit the 16, I was like, oh man, I got a pretty half-decent machine now. No, that's 128? DDR4? Oh my god.
2666. Oh, Illuminati.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, we gotta call it off, guys.
I know, we can't, no.
But aside
get
from
this
that, look at the I/O on it. There's 4 Thunderbolt 3 on it, 4 USB 3, a gigabit Ethernet, or maybe it's 10, I don't remember, and the SDXC card slot, and then not only 1 but 2 blowers at the top of it to keep your processor and your GPU cool.
Oh yeah, and that's helpful because my laptop has 2 blowers as well, and I've never had a single problem of overheating with it at all. I mean, it gets pretty hot at the sides, but that's when you know it's actually working, you know. And I've never had my computer shut off. Now, of course, I'm just using a PC. I could imagine how awesome this would be on, a much larger scale like the Mac or the iMac. I mean, look at this. This is pretty stunning.
I wish that they would make the back of it clear, like at least
Oh,
as an
yeah, I know.
option. That would be awesome, you know?
I mean, just look at the aesthetics of that. I mean, it's like I mean, I don't know if that's really how it looks like inside, if they're just, just making it look better, just for that picture. But still, that just looks really good.
Like
You don't typically see that.
I
Yeah.
put the iMac backwards on my desk just to be able to see that.
Yeah, I know. The two cooling things, how it kind of like wraps around. It looks like an infinity symbol in there. I mean, it just looks nice and slick and high tech.
It does, and the one complaint that I have about this is absolutely nothing is user accessible. See, the RAM is right here. You can't get to that. On mine, it's on a little door right under here. But on this, it is actually using desktop DIMMs instead of SODIMMs, which is nice, but it's not user accessible. And when I looked at the prices for RAM on just the normal iMac, they want $1,300 for 64 gigabytes of RAM. I can do that myself for 400. That's ridiculous.
I know.
And I'm only guessing that because they're using desktop DIMMs in the iMac Pro, it's gonna be at least a $3,000 RAM upgrade for just 128 gigabytes of RAM.
Oh my god.
But we'll have to revisit this topic in December when this is actually out and we can see the prices. Now, it is crazy, and there's actually have been some rumors about this 4 terabyte SSD here being two terabyte PCIe SSDs in RAID 1, and or RAID 0. I don't know how RAID works that well, but striped RAID is what it would be using. And guys, the PCIe SSDs Apple's already using now are fast, but 2 of them rated together would just be ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because you know when you RAID something in striped, it goes faster. And just two of those SSDs in striped RAID would be ridiculous.
I mean, I can't imagine how crazy that would be.
And down at the bottom, oh yeah, here's where they talk about the I/O. I already went over this, but there's 4 Thunderbolt 3.0 ports, and they're in the USB Type-C flavor. But the thing with that is, guys, USB or Thunderbolt 3 is the best of the best in terms of throughput and bandwidth right now. You can drive one Thunderbolt 3 cord from their LG 5K display, can carry the 5K video signal from the MacBook Pro to the display, charge the MacBook, and turn the monitor into a USB hub through one cable.
It's pretty crazy.
It's awesome. It's a great
like
technology.
That. It's a pretty good idea.
And it is 10 gigabit Ethernet, so there's that. Now, when I scroll down here, you're gonna see my dream setup. You ready for this? Oh, look at that. Right there is 3 5K displays all next to each other. I would use different peripherals than this, but that's pretty. Just imagine yourself being surrounded by 44 million pixels, editing this video, and this would be so nice. Because what they're showing here is on the actual iMac is Final Cut and the timeline that they're editing. On the left screen is a full screen preview of the video, and then on the right is the file browser from Final Cut.
Oh my. You know, I mean, I edit with 2 screens at minimum. Like, I can't imagine, even just having another screen would be nice. But 3 5K screens, holy crap. Like, that's insane of what you could do with that.
Not only would it be insane, but it would burn a pretty big hole through your wallet, because those screens aren't cheap.
Oh yeah. Because right now I'm just using 1080p display and then whatever freaking resolution my laptop's using, which is not like, you know, your typical sort of, you know, resolution that you'd see. But yeah.
Yeah, for me, I have the 5K screen on the iMac, and then on the right, this Dell monitor is 1440 by 900, and then I think my left one is 1280 by 1040. So my secondary screens are not that great, but you know what? It gets the job done.
Oh yeah.
When I edit, I just use one screen, since the way that I've been using Final Cut for the last however long it's been, I think almost 3 years now. I've just been using it on one screen, even back when I have my MacBook Pro. But now with this 5K display, I can actually, if I'm editing a 4K video, I can have the video scaled to 100% and then still have room left over for the browser and the timeline.
That's pretty useful. I mean, when I usually like edit, I have, the whole timeline on my 1080p display, and then the video preview is going to be in my, whenever I look for files and stuff like that, it's going to be on my laptop's display since it's low resolution, and I didn't want to see. I like having my timeline as tall as it could possibly be, and my 1080p screen that I use right now is the best for that.
Other than the power and the prettiness and the space gray, which that's another thing. Why is space gray back? They had such a good thing going, not making a space gray iPhone 7, only having the matte and the jet black, which, guys, jet black is beautiful until you set it on your desk lightly and it gets scratched to...
Yeah, just how it is. Or just any piano black color. Oh my god! On any sort of like electronic device, it just gets scratched up and dust like gets to it, and oh
yeah,
gosh, it's terrible.
But now we're seeing with the MacBook Pros and this iMac Pro, why is space gray back? Why didn't they just make it matte black? You know how awesome a matte black iMac would look, or even a jet black, like glossy, shiny iMac? That would be awesome. And space gray doesn't look bad on this, honestly. But you can't even like select silver if you wanted it. You have to get space gray if you want to get an iMac Pro.
I don't really like, yeah. That's not, color options there really aren't that great. And that's something that Apple's really good at, is aesthetics, and I feel like they're not giving you those extra options, hurts the aesthetic for sure, and it doesn't really, make it really, I guess, an appealing looking thing, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know, I'm just ranting. I don't know exactly what I'm talking about.
Hey, that's why it's called the Rantcast, dude. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the final thing I'm going to talk about, I already touched on it briefly, but the cooling here. They actually have an entire section to it that I forgot about. But how it works is it pulls the cool air in through the bottom and then pushes it out through the back of it through the heat sinks. And that's the same theory that mine uses, except only with one blower. And it works really well. Like, I've only gotten the fan to spin all the way up to full speed, I think once. And that's when I was rendering a video out of Final Cut and watching a 4K video on YouTube. So
yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, and, okay, we have to talk about the speakers, too. Look at this. Who else do you see doing this in a computer? I mean, obviously Dell has their, like, Alienware gaming computer with this supposedly amazing internal speakers, but you can see there's subwoofers at the top, tweeters on the bottom. I don't know why the subwoofers aren't on the bottom, but
yeah.
Regardless, the speakers in my iMac sound incredible for what they are, and it's not even this type of... It isn't even this type of setup.
Yeah, I mean, that looks really... I don't know, the speakers have always been like this on the other iMacs? I really wasn't too sure, because the ones that we have in our school that we use, speakers are okay, but it's not that great. But, just the fact that there's a subwoofer in there, I mean, gosh, that must sound pretty good.
Do you have the fat iMacs, or do you have the slimmer
We have
ones?
both. We have both the fat ones and the slim ones, but the ones in our lab are the nice slim ones.
The slim ones have much better speakers than the fatter ones from earlier. I'm only assuming that there's a subwoofer in both of them, because my black MacBook actually has a little tiny, like, half-inch subwoofer in the middle of it. But regardless of that, the speakers in my iMac are good, and they're not this type of speaker. It's something lower end, because it's the late 2015 model. But I only just gonna imagine what this sounds like. I'm gonna go to the Apple store and play, like... Yeah, I do that, and they don't care, which is great. So I'll do that in December once the iMac Pro is here. So, yeah.
Do we know about the cost of this thing yet, or...?
So, we only know the starting price, which is $5,000.
$5,000? That's what I heard, yeah.
When you compare it to other, like, server-level computers with 8 cores and 32 gigabytes of RAM, that's not too expensive. And a thing that most people actually seem to overlook with the price of iMacs is the fact that there's a 5K screen built into it. And it comes with these accessories. Look at these accessories, guys. So the only way you can get the dark keyboard and trackpad and mouse is if you get the iMac Pro. Sadly, I hope they start selling them as separate accessories. But it comes with... I do still think that you have to pay extra for the trackpad. But it at least comes with the mouse and the keyboard. The numeric keyboard. And the keyboard that came with my iMac only has... I'm gonna actually show you. It's just this, and it's small. It's really small, but it gets the job done. And this now has a number pad with wireless. So the starting price of $5,000 looks like a lot, but when you look at what's in the machine and what comes with it, it's not that much. Because this keyboard on its own is like, I think it's $100.
Jeez.
So, and the mouse is $80. I know that, and they're dark. You can't get them anywhere else like that unless you have like colorware do it, which is a thing that we could talk about a little bit later. But, yeah. So there it is, guys. The iMac Pro. Everyone was hoping for a new trash can Mac Pro. Supposedly, I think MKBHD talked about it briefly. He said. Someone from Apple told him 2018 is when that's coming. And it's going to be fully modular, which from Apple, I didn't think I'd hear fully modular and Mac in the same sentence ever.
I don't know. Yeah.
Because, you know, it's Apple. They lock their stuff down, except with the 27-inch iMac, the RAM is user accessible, even in the new 2017 model, which I didn't expect, but it is, so there's that. Alright guys, so while we're on the topic of Mac, let's talk about the new macOS, which is called High Sierra. They ran out of names for Mac, that's all I can say about that. They've run out of names. High Sierra. Now,
it's gonna be Low Sierra is the next one, right?
I hope so. That would be hilarious. Imagine if it's just Higher Sierra.
The highest Sierra.
Oh, man. Anyway, guys, so the public beta for this is out. I have it installed on my MacBook Air. It is very, very buggy. Like, not on the level of El Capitan buggy, but it's more buggy than any other beta than El Capitan. They have the new Siri voice, at least they were supposed to. In basically what I have is the first public beta, because I'm not a developer, so I don't get the earlier developer access, but in the first public beta on Mac, Siri's voice isn't only the old voice from Sierra, it's the iOS 5 voice. So there's that. I don't know why they went back to that instead of just keeping the one from current Sierra. There's a difference, guys, not High Sierra, current Sierra. So
I'm so confusing already.
Right? Like I feel like they're doing it on purpose. Like alright, anyway guys, some technical specs on this. They brought Apple File System to the Mac, which, for those who don't know, it's Apple's proprietary file system, of which they already had one, which was macOS Extended, or I think that's what it is, at least. I don't freaking know. But Apple File System came onto the iPhone, I think, in iOS 10.3.1, and it made the iPhones way faster, and it saved, when my uncle upgraded his iPhone 7 Plus to it, it saved him like 2 gigabytes of storage that just got freed up, because the way it caches things are different now, and it's more efficient. So there's that. It's all 64-bit. Apparently they've dropped 32-bit devices entirely, which they did a while ago. I'm not entirely sure what this means now, because the Mac I have is 64-bit. But I'm wondering now, are 32-bit programs going to run on it anymore?
Yeah, it is a tricky question, yeah.
We'll have to wait to find out. I haven't had any problems with application support on my MacBook. But I'm sure by September, when it's official, they'll have everything sorted out, and the new Siri voice and no issues with it, unless it's a repeat of El Capitan, which I really hope it's not.
No.
Yeah. So on top of that, guys, there's actually a new video encoder, HEVC, which is also H.265, allegedly up to 40% better compression. So for me, that's great, because less space with video rendering after this, and apparently faster processing on YouTube, because it's a web encoding. I can't find the right word, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about, right? Like it's a web encoding analogy for video.
Yeah.
So there's,
I can't think of it either.
Yeah. But there's that. Preserving same great video quality with 4K. So we'll have to see how that works out once it's here. Metal 2, Metal was originally announced with El Capitan, I believe. And apparently Metal 2 just makes it even better. So Metal was supposed to be Apple's replacement for OpenGL, but OpenGL was still compatible after the upgrade, which is good, because if it wasn't, I mean, that would kind of just be the end. But
yeah.
It apparently this is just going to make it better than it already is now, and the computer I have just slays 4K editing. It doesn't drop frames when I'm editing, even with time lapses, which is incredible, because coming from the computer I had before, which would sit there dropping frames when I was editing higher than 1080p at 30 frames, and now it's just only going to get even better with Metal 2. And you know, there's other stuff too. Photos is getting an update. iMessage syncs in iCloud now. About time. I don't know why that wasn't a thing to begin with.
Yeah, that'd be, yeah.
But there's not really much else. I mean, Siri is gonna get better, which it does every time there's a new release. There's a new thing in FaceTime. There's a capture button where you can just take a picture of whatever you see. I'm not really sure what the use of that's going to be, but
yeah, someone's
you know,
going to find a use for it, though.
Yeah. But here it is here, guys. What I was just talking about, messages right here. All your messages are always at hand, so macOS High Sierra saves your entire message history in iCloud. So when you like get a new Mac or something and you don't restore a backup from your previous one, you still have your messages, which is nice. Keeping messages in iCloud, it says, lets you save space on your Mac, but then it takes up space in your iCloud, and then it gets full and you have to upgrade, so there's that. Not sure how that's going to work for me, because I do have the 50 gigabyte thing. It's $1 a month. It's not too expensive, but
yeah, it ain't too bad.
Yeah, especially compared to some other prices on different services. But there's that. All this here, and I am signed up to the Apple beta program, just not on this machine, because after the El Capitan beta, I learned the hard way not to put betas on your main machine.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I learned that with my phone. I remember when I tried out iOS 7 on my old iPhone 5 the first time, and oh my god, that thing was so bad. It was the worst buggy thing I've ever tested, ever. But yeah, I mean, I had like problems where like I would send someone a message on, the iMessage thing. They wouldn't get it, and then they were getting paranoid because they weren't getting my messages, and I thought I'm ignoring them. Just a big mess like that. I mean, it was terrible. But that was like years and years ago. I can't believe it's been that long ago. And after that, I've not been, except for Windows 10. But
Windows 10.
That's a weird.
Don't even
That's
get me
a weird.
started on that.
Yeah. That's a weird other problem. Like when I first tried the betas on that, it was actually really stable. It was basically Windows 8.1 with the start menu, the classic start menu thing, and it was actually really stable. And then, like, progressively, it's gone more buggy and buggy. Like, it's done the exact opposite of how you normally see it, like software development go. Usually it's buggy, and then, you squash the bugs and it gets better. And this one, it seems like it's getting buggier at each new release. It's awful. I can't believe it. And I think after this, I'm gonna probably find a way to go back to 8 if I can, or something. I don't know, or if I can find a way to get 7 on my laptop, that'd be great. But right now, Windows 10 in its current state, not too impressed with it.
Yep. Or ideally, if you could upgrade to macOS, that would be
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Guys, Windows 10 is a topic we can talk about a different time.
Yeah, we'll bring that up for sure.
We could have a whole
hour.
episode on it, on how
Oh, yeah.
awful it is.
Oh my god.
So, anyway, guys, there's the new macOS. Hi, Sierra. I don't remember what the guy's name was, but he said that the operating system was fully baked, so that was pretty legendary of him.
Oh yeah.
You know, but you know, I'm excited to get it. I think in September it's gonna come out. That's when Sierra came out, I think. We'll have to see. I don't know, because do you remember Yosemite? That was like the first big jump off of the old 3D like glossy
The
icons.
skeuomorphism, I think is what they call it. Skeuomorphism, that old aesthetic design where you go with the old, like the gloss, the if you have wood, they'll put that on there. So yeah, I think that was Yosemite, wasn't it? I'm not too
Yeah, Yosemite is
good at
where.
knowing. Yeah, I don't really know all my OS and the Mac side of things, so I'm not really too sure.
Mavericks launched alongside of iOS 7,
Mm-hmm.
and iOS 7 was the first jump from. You remember iOS 6 was the last one
Yeah.
to have like the popping, like glossy, standing out icons. And then they refined it way back, which at first I didn't like, but now I went back to looking at an iPod Touch, this one actually right here, the 4th gen with iOS 6, and everything is just like all vibrant and poppy. It's like distracting.
It's weird. Yeah,
It's weird.
It's so strange. It's strange going back to like a really old OS of just anything, and you're like, wow, I can't believe I used this for so long, and it's changed so much.
Yeah, honestly, and I even tried to like swipe up from the bottom to get Control Center. Nothing happened, of course. Oh
Yeah.
man. Anyway, though, guys, Yosemite was the first jump from Mavericks with that refined look, and ever since then it's looked pretty much the same. Sierra got Siri. I rarely use it. Tried to set a timer for 20 minutes today, and it told me it couldn't. Yeah, I'm going to tell that story really quick. I was talking to Brandon about this before we started recording. I was making myself some food. I needed a timer set for 20 minutes, so I go over here, hit the pause break button on my keyboard, which is what I've hotkeyed to Siri. And I've said, hey, set a timer for 20 minutes, and it says, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Would you like me to set a reminder for you instead? So I go, fine. It sets the reminder, and then the reminder never goes off. So
That's perfect. That's great. That's a wonderful assistant there.
it is. It was great. I was like, wow, thank you, Siri.
I have my yeah. I wonder if Alexa can do it. Hey Alexa, set a timer for 20 minutes.
20 minutes, starting now.
Oh my god, I actually did. I was
boys.
actually surprised. I know, I was surprised there.
Just got one-upped by freaking Alexa.
I know.
How do you feel
Freaking
about
Alexa
that?
can do it.
Oh.
Gonna hurt Siri's feelings now.
Oh, speaking of Alexa, the Apple HomePod. You know what? Let me just pull
They
that
have
up
a new
really
speaker.
quick.
Yeah, they have a new speaker thing.
Honestly, guys, it looks like a scratching post, like a cylindrical scratching post. I'll show you right now. There it is. Welcome HomePod. I guess they're kind of bringing back like the pod name. I thought they were gonna call it like maybe the Apple speaker or Apple Home, but no, HomePod. So there it is. There's the scratching post. It does.
It does look like a scratching post. Now you said that, I can't like unsee that now.
Right? But it actually kind of does resemble the Mac Pro a little bit with its cylindrical shape, but the technology that's in it is actually kind of impressive. Like, check this out, guys. So it's powered by the same processor that's in your iPhone.
Oh, really? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
the Apple A8. It has a subwoofer, which, again, they're doing it upside down. The subwoofer's at the top, the tweeters are at the bottom, whatever. but the subwoofer actually has 20 millimeters of excursion, and for a speaker this small, that's a lot. There's 7 tweeters along the bottom of it. It is ported, it looks like, here at least, at the bottom. There's 6 microphones all around it, so Siri can hear you from wherever you're at. And so Apple can, like, make your NSA file all bigger.
Exactly.
But
that's exactly what's going on.
It's powered by an A8. I don't know why a speaker needs this much power.
I don't think so either. I don't know why.
But regardless, I mean, they have a thing. They have this whole thing here about how it bounces sound off of walls depending on where you set it, and I'm gonna have to hear it in person before I make a.
Yeah, it's really hard to judge a speaker by just looking at it.
Or by
really
like even by hearing it over the speakers you have, because it just isn't the same.
Exactly. So yeah, it's one of those things that once it comes out, I really want to kind of hear. I don't know if I could justify the fact that I already have the Amazon Echo and the price tag of this, but still, just something that really, it's just something I really want to hear. I mean, before I make any adjustments, yeah.
For the level of how advanced it is, it's $350 if you guys were wondering. That's not too expensive for a smart speaker. Like, I don't know how much the Amazon Echo or the Google Air Freshener is, but
yeah.
For what this is, it's not too expensive, actually. I don't know if they show it here, but you can actually pair 2 of them together to get stereo sound. And it is available in black, too,
that's pretty
not space gray.
Oh,
Yo,
if they made space gray, like, oh my god, if they made space gray for the freaking speaker, like, I don't know, I'd give up on Apple. That'd be ridiculous. They have like a really weird fetish on space gray. I don't know.
I don't know what it is either, because they were so close to dropping it with the iPhone, but then the MacBook Pro, they're like, guys, space freaking gray. We gotta bring it back. But there's that. And you know what kind of would look cool if you got a black and white one and then paired them together. But
oh yeah.
That's $700 at that point. Just get a home theater system.
There you go, exactly. It'd sound way better.
Yeah.
Probably.
But we're gonna have to see how it goes. This isn't available until December either. Who knows? Maybe someone I know will get one and I'll listen to it and see how it sounds.
There'll be someone who'll get it. Yeah.
One thing that we don't know is if this is gonna be usable as just a Bluetooth speaker. They didn't talk about that at all.
I hope so. That would be what makes or breaks this product, because I use Bluetooth all the time with my Echo. Yeah, when I actually use my Echo. Sometimes it's just sitting there collecting dust. But
the problem with it would be, obviously you can have Siri play music, but all of my music is in Google Play. So Google Play, Apple, I don't think that the 2 of them are going to be able to talk to each other, unless they do, which would be incredible.
Oh, that'd be awesome. But they're not really the best of friends, I don't think.
No, they're definitely not. But it is compatible with HomeKit, as you can see right here. Apple's HomeKit, what do they call it on the Echo? Is it just whatever?
I don't know what they call it.
Well, it's kind
of... I don't use it that much. I don't really use it all that much, so I have really no idea.
HomeKit is compatible with, the Philips Hue lights, those Belkin Wemo switches, which actually would be really cool because, guys, I'm gonna go a little bit off topic, but it's still a little bit relevant. When I'm watching a movie in here, I turn my LEDs off and the Christmas lights on because, yeah, I'm the guy that has his Christmas lights up all year. So it would be cool to have, a thing set on that to say, hey Siri, it's movie time, and then have my LEDs turn off and the Christmas lights come on.
Oh yeah,
that would be sweet.
You're like, hey Siri, it's sexy time, and the lights all dim and everything like that. I mean,
you get the Philips Hue lights. They go from daylight to warm yellow.
Exactly. That's exactly what you could do with that. There's so many cool applications you could do with this. The
HomePod starts playing chill music.
Yeah. Oh, I love to see that. That's going to happen eventually.
You can
someone's already done it.
You can program it to do that if you have all the right stuff. You could.
Oh man. Yeah, I bet someone may have already did that possibly. I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me either. Yeah, it wouldn't.
Oh man, that is cool though. But guys, the HomePod, I honestly I expected it to be at least $500. The fact that it's $350, okay, that's cool. I'll have to hear it in person before I decide if I want to get one or not. But you know, it's there. They're trying at least. They're making a move in that demographic, which is nice.
Yeah, they're definitely trying out their waters at the smart speaker market for sure. I mean, I think they're a little too late, but I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens with this. It could be really successful. I could see that happening. You know, like we keep saying, I'm sure we'd have to hear it first to really, you know, get a real full true judgment.
Yeah,
of whether or not this
exactly. Because when you listen to a speaker like over, like someone recording it, there's so many things that limit the sound. The microphone on the camera, compression on whatever it's sent by, and your speakers and your internet connection. All of that has an impact on how it sounds through whatever you're listening it to.
Exactly.
And nothing's the same as just listening to it in person. So eventually I'll have to listen to it. Brandon's in a different state, so I can't take him to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
I think we're like 12, 13, 14 hours. I don't even know. It's far.
A while. I find out later. But it's too far to walk. We'll just put it like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, the HomePod. There you go. There's my thoughts, Brandon's thoughts. Now, you said they're a little bit late to the game, and they are. Another thing that they were late with was smartwatches.
Oh yeah, they were a little late on that too, I think.
Now, yes, they have Series 2, okay, and that's great. But WatchOS 3, what's new? Nothing. It didn't really look like there was anything added in WatchOS 3. But, you know what, it's whatever. Well, I don't have one. I don't plan on getting one because...
Yeah, same here.
I
don't wear watches. That's the thing. I don't really have a use for it. I just use my phone. But I guess some people do.
I wear this watch, this Timex Ironman. This is my third one in the last 6 years. They're good watches, you know. They're not smart, but...
The watch, you know.
Right here, I got this. I don't need a thing on my wrist. Anyway. There's that, and, I guess really the final thing that there is to go over that they announced at WWDC is tvOS 11, which how are they on 11 already?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't
what
even have an
happened?
Apple
What
TV,
happened there?
What are they doing all the time?
I don't know. Like the Apple TV that's downstairs in my basement is 3rd gen, so it's not even gonna get this update. But here it is right here, guys. The thick Apple TV, the tall one. tvOS 11. I don't know what happened.
What are they doing with each new release? Like for iOS 11's coming out, okay, and we had iOS. Well, back even when it was called iPhone OS or whatever.
iPhone OS, yeah.
I mean, and there's so much that's gone on with that. We're on tvOS 11.
And
what's going on? What are they doing?
Exactly. It wasn't even called tvOS until the 4th generation Apple TV came out. And I don't remember when it came out. It was either last summer or summer 2015. But regardless, those numbers still don't add up. Like, what did they... I don't know what they did.
I guess it's just how, you know, with iOS, whenever there's a new version, they use, you know, like 8.1 or whatever, or, you know, and I guess they're numbering them differently. I guess that's the only thing I could come up with. I mean, they must not be using points.
That's another thing. They're on iOS 11 in the fall, at least when it comes out. tvOS 11, but macOS is still on 10 for the last, like, 13 years. What happened? What's happening? It's
a weird naming scheme they're getting into.
They dropped the name OS 10, which is like, okay, that's like 10 years of Apple just thrown away. It's called just Mac OS now because Tim Cook has freaking OCD. He was probably sitting there with Johnny Ive. Johnny, this has to match My OCD is triggering me.
Oh my god.
It has to match tvOS and iOS and watchOS. We can't go on unless it's changed. So there's that. I'm pretty sure that's exactly word for word how that conversation went down between them.
Probably is. It had to. Well, I have OCD sometimes too, and honestly, I don't blame him in a way, but still.
But it's been called OS 10 since I think Puma was the first macOS 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they looped it back around with Yosemite to 10.10, isn't that just 10.1 with an extra 0?
Yeah, 10.10. Sure. 10.10. Because.
What I need to actually know, Mac OS X 10.1. So 10.1 was called. Oh, okay. 10.1 was Puma. Wait, what was 10.0 then? 10.0 was... Okay, 10.0 was Cheetah. 10.1 was Puma. So, they've since done away with naming their operating systems after cats.
Okay.
But...
now,
since then they've...
Sierra, hi Sierra.
Yeah, they went... Mountain Lion was the last one, 10.8. Then Mavericks, which was 10.9. And then Yosemite, El Capitan, Sierra, getting ahead of myself, and now High Sierra coming out in September. Or November, whatever they decide to release it, I don't know. But also with the Apple TV now, the 4th generation that you have is the Siri remote, which isn't new, but apparently, here it is right here, you can see it. When Apple announced the Apple TV 4th gen with the Siri remote, they claimed it to be the first TV platform with voice control. And after that I was just like, what about X1 with the voice remote? 3 years prior to this. Like, what happened to that? Have they not seen it?
I guess not.
It's not very useful. I have it. I've never used it once before, but I mean it's still cool to, like, if you're, you have your friends over, you just hold the remote up and go South Park, and then it brings it up on demand with all 4 episodes they have on there.
Oh yeah.
But regardless, it's still a cool feature, but Apple was not the first to do it. I don't even think Xfinity was, but it's Apple.
Yeah, Apple's got they tend to do that a lot, it seems like,
They claimed when the iPhone 6S came out in 2015, they claimed it to be the most powerful smartphone in the world. And at that point, I was just like, yeah. I think the S6 was out at that time, and that was already like twice the power on paper as the iPhone. But Apple, with all their optimization, the iPhone 7 right now outperforms the OnePlus 5, which is a phone with 8 cores and 8 gigabytes of RAM, with inflated benchmark results. So there's that,
Yeah.
Apple's phone that's like a third of the power out on paper outperforms the OnePlus 5. So they know how to optimize their software. I'll give them that at least.
Oh yeah, they've been good with that.
Yeah, they have. But yeah, so I guess that's about all there is to talk about from WWDC. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out Brandon's channel over at youtube.com/DSRX100. There'll be an end screen at the end of the video and a link in the description. Is there anything you want to say before we end this?
Not really. Don't really have a whole lot. Hopefully we could do this again once we pick a topic out, and maybe we'll actually do more ranting, but oh well, that's just how it is.
Alright, well, yeah, guys, again, a big thanks to Brandon for being in this Skype call for the last hour and 20 minutes, setting this up and recording. Maybe eventually we'll stream this. I'm not sure how that would work, though, because obviously there's going to be some outtakes that'll be cut out of the edited version, but I also have to take into consideration the fact that this isn't holding 30 frames a second consistently the whole time, and streaming that would probably have an impact on that too.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out eventually, guys. Anyway, though, that is going to be it for the first episode of the Rantcast. If you enjoyed this content, like the video, subscribe to both of our channels, and tell us what you think. And until the next video, guys, that is it. So thank you for watching.